DieselPowerSource.
Okay, the first thing you do after you remove the compressor housing, you've taken off the bolts and brackets that hold the compressor housing on. This is to replace a seal on a turbo. We put a mark on the nut, the compressor wheel, and the turbine wheel. And you can put a little scratch on the top of it if you would like, but we do that so we see the alignment, that they're all aligned. And this one I put the mark on there, I retightened it so you could see it. But usually you'll have the lines exactly lined up. That way they stay in balance when they're pulled apart. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, we just put a socket on the back side. This socket depends on what size the wheel is, but the socket is actually part of the shaft. The turbine wheel and shaft are all one piece. On this turbo, it's going to be reverse threaded, so tighten is loosen and loosen is tighten. So clockwise is going to loosen the turbo. Put it on. After you've marked it, make sure you have those marks on it. You're going to take the compressor nut off, and then we're simply going to pull off the compressor wheel. Okay, once we have the compressor wheel off, just going to bump it like that and it'll pop out. Right there on the back side is the turbine seal. You can see right here is the turbine seal in there. Right there's the turbine seal. See how it has the gap? All it is a piston ring seal. A piston ring. All we're going to do is pull the shaft out. Be very careful as you're going in and out that you don't scar the bearings. We're going to take this, take a set of snap ring pliers, and we're going to open the gap on this just ever so carefully. Just take the seal off, and we're going to remove the seal. Then we're going to put a new seal on. And the gap, it's really important you don't open it too wide. Barely open it wide enough to get over the collar there, so that you're going to want to put a little dab of oil there and oil the shaft here. This larger portion of the shaft, oil, or put just a dab of grease on that. But you're going to want to oil that. And then I always will take and compress that piston ring as much as I can, just so that the gap is as small as possible. Now, this is the oil inlet, the oil outlet, the oil drain. The drain, you have to have the gap, this piston ring gap right here has got to go upwards toward. So I'm going to turn it like this as I push it in, and you can just lightly wiggle it and make sure everything inside is aligned. You lightly wiggle it and twist it like this as you're pushing in. Now, when I've got it up there, I have to have the gap going upwards toward the oil seal, or I'm sorry, toward the oil inlet. If it's going downward, it'll leak when the turbo's in place, or can leak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply, once I know it's going toward the oil inlet, I'm going to put it up here and I'm going to let the heat shield drop. And then I'm going to wiggle it around just a little bit until I know for a fact that this heat shield is not catching the seal. I'm going to slowly twist it and until it clicks in like that. It'll click in, slowly twist it and click it in, and then reverse the process. You're going to put the compressor wheel back on, and this is where it's really important that you've marked them, because my markings have to end after I tighten all aligned. So I'm going to put on my. Make sure you don't wipe off that marking on the things, because otherwise you're going to have to. If you line everything up, then it will go back to the same torque specs and everything that was set up with. So again, this is just a socket we've mounted on the table. You can use it with a socket, or you can put a vice grips on the nut on the turbine side. But You can see the, I'll turn it this way so you can see the markings as we twist them. They're going to become aligned, and we actually use a torque wrench, this particular turbo. But every turbo is going to have different torque specs. And the lines, they should be aligned when you're done with the turbine, and if you have to, the turbine mark and those two marks should be aligned when you're done. That's it. And spin it, holding the heat shield from dragging. Spin it, and it should spin nice and free, and you're good to go.